lust can be like a mildew for your soul. And I talk a bit about this in my book here. And when you are able to eradicate lust from your being, you're able to see the beauty of life for what it is, and you're able to witness the eternalities of life, not only with yourself, but with other people around you, where every moment feels as if it could be eternal. That's where you start to get into the sense of what enlightenment is really all about and what the spiritual path is all about. There's a profound sense of understanding and of acceptance, and with that comes this sense of bliss and positivity, and it's a lack of worry. But we must not become so naive within this frame of thought that we lose ourselves in it. And it's not to say that you need to think more or anything like that, but sometimes I think that there are people that are not thinking enough, and then there are people that are thinking too much. And so the balance that you must have is, well, where are you at, and how are you approaching your relationships, especially with yourself? Can you show compassion to yourself? Can you show affection to yourself? One of the most favorite things I love to do in my life is, while I'm cooking dinner, I'll listen to the Beatles, or I'll listen to Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin, and I love to dance while I'm cooking. That's one of my most favorite things to do. And it's just because of the freeing nature of it. It's like I don't have to worry about anything. Yes, things may not be perfect in life, but I still have that godlike mentality and my godlike approach to life. I don't see life as something to be squandered in any way, shape, or form. And I see life as this opportunity. I see life as something that is unfolding and unveiling, and something not only to discover, but also to build with and in. Because the universe is not happening outside of us. The universe is happening inside our minds. And this is something that when you get to a point to where you're able to let go of the lust, let go of that mildew that is lust on your soul. When you're able to let go of that, you're able to see that there are actually many people that feel that you, like, being around you is just this freeing moment of eternalities, and you make people feel good. Like someone recognizes that you make people feel good. Someone recognizes that you make people feel a certain way about like a sense of freedom. But the thing about freedom is it's often accompanied with truth. And while truth frees you and it feels amazing, it can also be kind of painful if you have certain illusions that are constructed in your mind. And if you are having a proclivity toward seeing illusions to be truth, like you're ultimately going to be hurt, quote unquote. It's really just your ego that's going to be hurt, but you're going to be hurt by the truths and the things that you've allowed these ideological subversions to penetrate your mind and your being, so much so that now the truth is something that is almost a form of offense and a form of attack on who you believe yourself to be, which makes sense. Obviously, if you believe you to be a certain way, or you believe that the society is a certain way, and then some truth comes along and completely knocks that over, it's almost like people cannot handle it. Have you ever seen how people cannot handle the truth sometimes? Like they like things, what I've noticed is a lot of the things that I talk about, it's almost like it's forgotten truth. That's what it feels like, and that's what it seems like. It's this forgotten truth that there's something deeper beneath the surface of what we see and what we know, and everybody has access to this stuff. Everybody has access to it, and yet it's just forgotten truth. It's forgotten knowledge, and that, I think, is just, it's a pity, to be honest, because there are so many possibilities in this life. There's so many things that could be assets as far as knowledge and understanding and faith goes. They're assets for being. Your thought algorithms can be assets for being. And yet your thought algorithms are swayed in a certain way where you you just can't get a hold of reality because you want to hold on to these old beliefs because they're more comfortable. And I understand this. You know, this is something that I've talked about with people all over the world for a couple years now. You know, it's not easy to be who you are meant to be. And it's not easy to actually honestly express yourself. It's not easy to do that. But at the same time, once you are getting there, once you're in that authentic communication mode, well, then it's fantastic. It's great. You know, it's very easy and simple. You just be who you are, which sounds like very cliche advice. And I used to think like, oh, just be who you are. Oh yeah, what kind of advice is that? Actually, it's pretty good advice. Like, it's just so simple that you have to extrapolate on it inside you, and you want to have like a system or something to like express who you are, but you have to create your own system to some degree. There's nothing wrong with you loving whatever it is that you're seeing in other people do as far as systems go. You know, these systems are great. The systems are fantastic. And I have systems of my own that I've used to help people, but it doesn't always mean that the system that I have is going to work for you, and it doesn't mean the system that you have is going to work for me. However, there are just certain truths in certain systems. That's what I strive to live by. You know, I think that, for example, to eradicate luck from your life, you're going to have to do some things that go against 3 principles, okay? And if you want to keep luck in your life, you're going to have to do these principles, which is consistency maxing, okay? Recognizing your own follies and being able to stay grateful no matter what, and being in a place of gratitude, and then embodying the energy of what it is you want to bring into life. You know, I talk about being a godlike savage quite a bit and this has really become a form of my brand as well, as to be a godlike savage for the men, and then for the women, it's warm, inviting, feminine, empathetic women. And this is the kind of reality I want to curate and create with people because I think that it's valuable. But this comes also at a point where you have to love yourself to do this. You have to love yourself to know who you really are. You have to love yourself to accept who you really are. And if you don't do that, or you don't know how to do that, then life can become very, precarious, I suppose. And there can be a torrent of misunderstanding that can just go on a rampage in your mind. But when you're able to sit back and let go of the anxiousness and the depression, you know, I don't understand how people like let these things get to them anymore. If you're anxious and you're depressed or whatever it is, use that as a way to understand more about who you are. And if something isn't working and you're getting depressed or anxious about it, the best way to move is to do something new. Like if you need more data on something, if you need more knowledge about something and you don't know exactly what to do, just try something new. And if you need to cope with something, honestly, I don't understand also why society oh, that's a cope, bro. So what if it is? So what if it's a cope? Who cares? Yeah, who cares if it's a cope? Now, I'm not saying you should do anything to cope, but I'm just saying that if you have a cope, I don't know, if you need to eat some brownies and ice cream, or you need to eat some pizza, and then you'll get back on the horse, then why not do that? Like, why not do that? And again, I'm not advocating for the behavior. I'm just saying that, like, if you need to, why don't you do that? If you need to do that, and you need to have a cup of coffee in the morning, let's say, if you need to have a cup of coffee in the morning to feel like you need to function, one cup of coffee isn't going to kill you. One cup of coffee isn't going to kill you. And I've had people have so many ideas about what's good and what's bad, and what's good for your body, what's not good for your body. I get it. Ultimately, there's just a few like ground rules that I follow when it comes to health and nutrition, and especially like working out. But at the same time, I think people take this way too seriously. Like, take it sincerely, yes, but don't take it too seriously. And I think you're going to find more moments of eternalities when you do that, because you're not focused on like the outcome. You're focused on just living the input. Like, what you're focused on living life to its totality and fullest in the moment. And when you're focused on that, you don't become anxious anymore. You don't become depressed anymore. And if you cope a little bit, like, so what? So what if you cope a little bit? People will tell themselves certain things to cope as well. And I don't think it's wrong. I don't really know if it's right. But, to each their own. And sometimes you have to give yourself a little grace. We're not perfect as human beings, and it's definitely not easy to live in this life. It's definitely not easy to live in a society where you feel disconnected a lot of the time, especially if you're a godly person or striving to be the best version of yourself. You're going to feel isolated. You're going to feel like disconnected from society to some degree. But that doesn't mean that you're crazy or wrong or anything like that. And maybe I'll make a video on that specifically. But, when you're with someone that values you for who you are, there's going to be an emanation of freeing eternalism, you could say, when you're with this person. And they're going to see it, and they're going to notice it, and they're going to appreciate it. So don't get caught up in the, what people are saying about how to live life, okay? Or how to be with other people. Even myself, like, take it for what it is and have a grain of salt with it, but test it for yourself. Like, does this work for you or does this not work for you? I love being sensible in solitude, and I love being able to be who I am, but I just don't care about what people think of me anymore. Of course, I want people to enjoy what I do, and have people want to watch my work or see my work. Like, I want people to be able to read my book, for example. I want people to watch these videos. I want people to, see my work or work with me in my services and such with the Godlike Master Initiation Program, for example. I want this to happen, but I'm not going to force it. Why should I force it? I want people who are interested in the deep spiritual mysteries of life. That's what I want. Like, I want to work with people like that actually just want to better themselves, and not for the sake of self-improvement to self-improve. It's just because you need to be better. You need to be better. And that's that. So I hope that this message was useful and insightful for you. I hope that you all have a blessed day. We are in phase 3 of what I'm seeing to happen and what I want to happen with the Regal Change brand as a whole. Phase 1 was really building the audience and building a sense of who is who with my audience, and that was, with semen retention, with relationships, with spirituality in general. Then phase 2 is the introduction to more of these deeper psychological and spiritual ideas. And now I'm in phase 3, which I call Operation Bridge. And Operation Bridge was launched with this book. And now we're here. Now it's about getting into the deep and really deep waters and being able to confront the high level altitude thinkings as well, and the thoughts to incorporate into our being, because I want to work with people, and I want to work with people that have a understanding of what this stuff means. I can't really work with beginners anymore. I'm now specializing my niche, and I'm now specializing who I am to a point to where I need a very specific kind of person that wants to learn about these things to work with me and for me to work with them. But anyways, that's kind of just where my thought process is at here now that we're wrapping up this video, and I want to give everybody my blessing to have a good day. You don't need that from me really, but guess what? Some people feel like they need other people's validation and approval, and if you get the sense that you need that, well, here's my blessing. Go have a good day. Go have a positive day. Be filled with the spirit of truth and joy and prosperity, and live your life. Okay, you don't need permission to do this, but some people feel better when they have someone encouraging them to do that. So if you're someone that needs that, that's it right there. With all that being said, peace, and until next time.